Call the meeting to order. Ask you please to stand for a moment of silence and remain standing, and we will have a couple of our students from South Middle School come up and lead us in the pledge. Thank you. We have Chloe, if I can go all the way over here, from South Middle School, Brinley Short. Chloe Collins.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies. Welcome, everyone. If you have your cell phone with you, please be sure to silence it at this time so that it's not going off during the meeting. Miss Patty, I said we have no public input, no one signed in. So we'll move on to item E, which is approval of the agenda. Board members, please take a look. See if you have questions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve the agenda by Mr. Williams, second by Ms. Leakey. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to item F, which is approval of the consent agenda. A couple items on there, areas I guess I should say. We have field trips from North Middle School and a couple from the high school, honors band going to Nashville, and I think the high school's also going to football. Huntland Middle School and High School Interact is going to their conference in Pigeon Forge, and then Franklin County High School FFA is going to the state convention in Gatlinburg, and the paperwork is filed for each of those. And also then we have the minutes from the December 10th meeting.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda by Mr. Williams, a second by Ms. Schultz. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
I just want to add that I was excited to see that some of our band students have done well and we're getting to go on to the competition.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
congratulations.
Absolutely. That takes us to the director's report, Dr. Holmes.
All right. So first of all, we have our Director of Coordinating School Health, Ms. Hawksman, is going to come and talk to us about the Tennessee Healthy School Challenge. This was introduced, I think, at the last TSBA conference that we were at. So there's some grants there. So he's going to share information about that. Then Ms. Carter Pinkleton is going to come and spotlight our stream, followed by Dr. Brewer from South as the principal there to spotlight her school.
All right. Well, first, I know how y'all look so good tonight. I mean, did I mention how good y'all look tonight? And then the fact that y'all doing such a good job as board members and stuff. I just thought I'd mention that before I got started on this. Well, now that we're, if you're going to bring stuff like that up, I might as well do my part. And I don't know if any of you have done a New Year's resolution, but I'm going to help you with that also. I mean, it just all ties up into one big, awesome ball. Anyway, Dr. Holman had mentioned the Tennessee's Healthier Schools Challenge, and I'm not going to read it, because that might take more than 5 minutes, but to sum it up, it's the importance, coordinated school health and the physical activity part and the physical education part, and then bridging that with the academic part has got to happen. I mean, I don't know how much studies you've done, but if kids aren't active at school and if they're not active in the classroom, they're not learning as much. I mean, that's a huge piece of the puzzle that I think gets left out sometimes. Go with every program in the world, but if you got the kids in the classroom sitting in desks staring at a teacher or a chalkboard or whatever, they're not learning. They have to be active. They got to be engaged, and that's a huge part of coordinated school health and the initiatives and all the things that I try to work on. Inside of that, then, we have this Tennessee Healthier Schools Challenge. And I know that since y'all are so awesome, that you are on board for any type of programs that I could receive money for to get to the students. So to help with programs, to help with activities, to help with equipment, etc. So I know you'd all of you would be on board with something like that. Would that be correct? Good, good. So now that everyone's shaking their head, yes, I'm going to read number 8. It's a criteria. And if I meet like 11 of these criteria, I get like, for example, $8,000 is platinum. That's 12 of 13 criteria. $6,000 is 11 of 13 of these criteria. $5,000 for 10, and the bronze is $4,000. I'm already meeting a lot of these in just what I do during the year. But why only do a few when you could be involved and I could almost get them all done? So, since Eric looked pretty excited about what we're going for, not as excited as Lance is going to be, but anyway. Number 8, a staff wellness program is provided to school board members by the coordinated school health director, in which 50% of those board members actively participate. Now, since all of you were shaking your head yes that you wanted to help, I'm guessing I'll probably get 100% participation. I mean, we all want to help the kids, right? So, the way we're going to do this and how we can get you involved is, number 1 is, I bought all of you one of these fit bracelets I have on right here. Fit bracelets keep up with all your steps, blood pressure, blood oxygen, sleep, whatever you want it to keep up with. These bracelets keep up. Now, I've already got mine on because I'm part of this. And Dr. Holman, you part of this whole thing? Oh, all right. Dr. Austin, you part? Man, we've got some people already a huge part of this because we knew how involved you'd want to be. So, I've bought everyone one of these, and I'm going to get this student representative here, make herself useful, and she's going to hand it all out to you. Now, you don't have to mess with it right now, but when you get home, there's directions in there. There's one extra. There's an app in there to put on your phone. It's real simple. We did it in 5 minutes. And all I need you to do when you get this bracelet, now it keeps up with a lot, but I have this fancy spreadsheet here, and I have it on Google Sheets. It's got all your names on it, and it's got a weekly steps and blood pressure on it. So all you have to do is every Friday is email me. Now, I was going to send the whole sheet out, but then you'd be seeing each other's blood pressure and steps, and I didn't think you'd want to do that. Anyway, so if you'll email it to me, I'll keep it logged in. So weekly, you'll send me steps and what your blood pressure was on Friday. Goals, just to be realistic. Your daily goals between 8,000 and 10,000 steps. Just walking around, naturally, you're going to get around 3,000 to 4,000. So what I'm saying is,
8 steps to 8,000.
do what? 8
steps. You said 8 to
8 to 10,000. Yeah,
Well,
it's 8,000 to 10,000. You know what I'm talking about.
I know.
So, but it's between 8,000 and 10,000 steps, which means this: you have to intentionally get these steps. You can't just accidentally at the end of the day go, "Yeah, I got my steps in." It means that daily you're going to have to take some initiative to get out and start walking. We're the leaders of the district, so if we're not setting examples about a culture of a county that wants our kids to be physically active by showing them how we're going to try to be physically active, then what type of, leadership we got going on? We're going to be examples. What do y'all think? Y'all already shook your head yes. So all you need to do is get between 8,000 and 10,000 steps a day. And you can do the math, but it's 56,000 to 70,000 steps a week. That's not a whole lot, not as much as you think, but you have to intentionally do it. So, now you're probably thinking, all right, he gave us this bracelet. I kind of feel obligated, but I'm not 100% in. I kind of like the kids in the county, but not that much to get 10,000 steps in. I get it. But I know what you're thinking. It's cold outside, right? I saw the look on your head like, whatever, he crazy. I'm not getting out there in that cold. In addition to the bracelets you got, I also contacted Mass Appeal, and all of you have a membership until March 31st when the weather breaks to get in there and get your steps in on the treadmills, whatever you want to do to get in there and exercise. Talked to Miss Ashley Davis today, and she said tell them to come on. All I will need tonight when I pass this around is your name, email, and phone number. She'll take your phone number. She's going to send you an app. All you got to do is go up and beat the door with the app, and you're in. You hit the trail, whatever you want to do. No charge till March 31st. Then if you want to sign up, fine. If not, the weather's fine. We're going to continue this till the end of school, the last board meeting in May, and see how many steps we got, see what the progress was, see who's in shape. So now, is everybody still on board? Maybe so. All right. Well,
How is this helping the kids?
this is helping the kids because if I meet the more criteria I meet on the Healthy School Challenge, the more money I get. The more money I get goes to the students in the district toward programs or equipment or.
So where does it say that the school board has to be
I
in?
think you just made that up.
Yeah, no. I would never make up something like that.
Thank you, I know you did.
Read number 8.
Well,
Does it say Franklin County School?
a staff wellness program was provided to school board members by coordinated school health, and 50% of the school board members actively participate. Oh, so you only have to have half of us.
But y'all all said you wanted to help, but that is true.
Take this paper back.
As long as 50% of you actively participate, I'll be happy. We all need to. We all need to be walking
What if
station.
you fall short?
If you fall short, that's fine. It said actively participate. If you don't reach all the steps, that's fine. You're participating. I just gave you a goal. Because sometimes people, well, how many steps do I need to get? Well,
So that, the 10,000 steps, then is a Hawker Smith.
that's a Hawker-Smith thing right there. Correct. That's just me saying.
That clears the fog.
That's just me saying you don't get to just. A program's not a program if it's something you don't have to try to do. So if I put you on a program, you're like, well, I walked 1,000 steps today. I'm involved. Well, you do that anyway. So I'm pushing you toward just a little effort towards it. Right, Miss Jones? Tell me.
Where does this need to go down?
It's right behind North still.
It's behind.
Right.
Thank you, I guess.
Any other questions? I'll take that up at the end of the meeting or something. Any other questions? That's all I got.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Real quick, as Ms. Pinkleton is coming to talk about STREAM, just to reiterate, the Tennessee Healthy Schools Challenge, that came about through like I said, the last conference that we attended. And anytime that I can wrap my head around grants of possible monies for our district, I'm always intrigued by. And so once we looked at it and we saw what Mr. Hawksmith is already doing, we're pretty close in meeting the criteria for certain grants. So we're just trying to secure additional grants, because I know our county commissioners and things are here. We're always trying to find different financial avenues to support our schools.
So will this be just for high school students or
No, this is just for
just for the board?
Ms. Pinkleton.
We ready? All right, so I'm Carter Pinkleton, and I'm the STREAM instructional coach. This is my second year in the role, and this year has been much busier than last year, which is a wonderful thing. So basically a snapshot of my role is that all things science or STREAM related in the entire district fall under me. So I wear a few hats with that role. First and foremost, I am the driver and operator of the STREAM van. As you all are very familiar with the STREAM van and all of the goodies that are on the STREAM van, I take the STREAM van to all 8 elementary schools once a semester. That's about as much as I can fit in. So basically, during the time that the STREAM van is at the elementary school, about 2 weeks prior, I send a sign-up sheet to all the teachers so that they can pick a time during the days that I'm at their school that works best for them. They bring their students to me, and it is a kill 2 birds with 1 stone kind of ordeal. The kids are getting extra STREAM time using the Botley robots, the Colby mice, the snap circuits, as well as the teachers are getting that training because they're in there with me as I'm working with the kids. So they're getting training on the equipment and how to use it, and the kids are also getting to participate in that. Something else that I do in my role is I have a lot of working documents that have all of the science standards for grades 3 through 5, as well as all of the ELA topics in grades K2. And each of those working documents have STEM activities that go along with them to help best support the teachers in the classroom and getting STEM into their classroom. I have quarterly meetings with the middle school science and STEM teachers. So basically that is a time to support them, plan with them, make sure that they are getting all the resources and all the support from me that they can. And these pictures are from the STREAM van. These are Botley robots that students code with. This is a Colby mice that students code with, and these are snap circuits that kids create. If you are a parent of students in 3 through 5, if I ever saw them, I made sure to tell them to put it on their Christmas list, and I got lots of messages right before Christmas. What was that thing that you used with my, So that's always nice when they want to take what they're using at school, take it home with them. I create monthly newsletters that I send out to all of the teachers, and this is just kind of what they look like. Basically just what's going on that month, some pictures, STEM ideas based on the holiday that we are near, professional development opportunities for teachers that may need it, et cetera, et cetera. And if that is something, I never thought about that, but if it's something that you would like to be a part of, I can add you in on that email as I send those out monthly. Something else that is a part of my role is we are currently about to have a science textbook adoption. Our science standards are changing, and I am heading up the textbook adoption. So we have a committee based up of 20 teachers, I believe, elementary, middle, and high school. So that's another hat that I'm currently wearing. I also have a STREAM website to try and make things easier for teachers to find all of the things that they need to find. So basically this consists of online resources, where the STREAM van is, my newsletters, STREAM activities that go along with the CKLA, which is the K2 reading curriculum, as well as activities that go along with the science. Just kind of in a nutshell what the website looks like. I created videos that go along as a little training for the most popular items on the STREAM van. So teachers were able to scan the QR code with their cell phone and watch a video of me, not one that I found on YouTube, it's me, showing them how to use it and stuff like that in case they want to use it when I'm not there or they need a quick refresher. Some stats for the school year so far. I have so far visited 7 elementary schools with the STREAM van. I'll be up to my 8th school this week. This week. It got pushed to the second semester because of weather and sickness. I have co-taught STEM lessons in 20 middle school classes. I have led VR goggle training at 7 elementary schools because there are 2 sets of VR goggles on the STREAM van. I have led VR experiences in 12 classrooms. So basically this is where I take the VR goggles into the classroom. The teacher gets to sit back and I just take over and have their students travel to many different places in the world. Something else I have done in my role is utilize the central office stream funding for all elementary and middle schools versus purchasing more things that I need for the van or stuff like that. I have kind of pushed that funding out so that elementary and middle schools are able to use that funding for things that they need in their classroom that I may not know about. Planning, purchasing, and night of assisting for 6 stream nights so far. So anytime an elementary or middle school has a STEM night, I try to help with planning, their purchasing for that, and any help that they need the night of. Like I showed you with the QR codes, I have created tutorial videos for stream van items, and I have also developed a science standards crosswalk. So basically the old standards that we have to the new standards that we are getting, I developed a large working document that I'm sure the state will eventually come out with, but mine will always look prettier, but that's okay. So that teachers were getting used to what their standards currently look like and what they will look like next year, so that they're already preparing as they look at curriculum options. Looking ahead to next school year, a continuation of all tasks the previous 2 years. This is my 2nd year in the role, so for my 3rd year, I plan to continue to do all of the things that I'm currently doing. I also plan to offer further training for elementary teachers, especially to feel confident in incorporating STREAM into their everyday classroom. Sometimes they look at it as it's a separate entity, and I'm really trying to get them to feel that it is just in their everyday classroom use. A big hat that I will also be wearing next year is the supporting teachers as they implement new curriculum. We will have a new science curriculum. So part of my role, a huge part of my role, will be helping with curriculum implementation, and that will also be the IPG implementation, which is the Science Instructional Practice Guide. So not an evaluation, but more of a support on how they're using their curriculum in their classrooms. So that is the STREAM world in a nutshell. It is super fun. It is super stressful sometimes. I'm stretched really thin, but it is such a wonderful thing. Do you have any questions for me?
Carter?
Yes.
Because this, I think, as a school board member, I would love to receive your newsletter.
Absolutely.
I also think that a couple of at least key people in the foundation need to be on that list. And as you've gone through some of what's included in there, and having previously written grants for the foundation, I know that some of that would be very useful in the grant writing and grant security process. So
perfect.
Don't leave the foundation out of that where it's appropriate.
Yes, ma'am.
I think they were part of, are we not part of the VR goggles?
Yes.
Yeah. And so anything that you've got with VR goggles, that's because we always have to document what we've done.
Exactly.
How we've impacted.
Exactly.
The system. So that's that.
Yep, I sure will.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, your mouse.
Thank you so much, Ms. Pinkerton. As Dr. Brewer is making her way, I'll add to what Ms. Pinkerton said as well. I do greatly appreciate the partnership that we have with the Ed Foundation in their efforts to support the STREAM initiative in the district. And then in addition to that, with the newsletters, we can ensure to make sure that school board, you all are getting the newsletter for STREAM, for HR. HR now has a newsletter, as well as the Fine Arts has a newsletter. So that information can most definitely, you can receive that. Dr. Brewer?
Okay. So I wanted to highlight a few things that we're doing at South, and that's the rewards that we've been doing for our students this year. We're really focusing on the positive with our students. We do Exact Path, which is a normed adaptive diagnostic that pinpoints skill gaps and provides remediation for students based on benchmark assessment results. Benchmarks are given 3 times a year. We have started giving incentives for these kids, and they earn a trophy every time they receive an 80% or higher. So some of the things that we did, first 9 weeks, we did popsicles with the principals. We had 172 students receive this reward. They received 4 or more trophies and passed them with 80%. So there's just a picture of our the next thing we did was we did Dancing with Dawson. We did that as a grade level. All students did receive, well, not all students, but they received their 4 trophies, but the highest grade level got to go and spend an extra period with Mr. Dawson. And as you can see, he dressed up and he made a big time out of it. So the kids thought that was, pretty exciting for them. So our Exact Path rewards for November and December, every trophy earned a student to have their name entered into a drawing for a mystery prize that was worth over $100. The grade level with the highest average number of trophies per student received a pajama and a hat day, which, if you know anything about middle school, that's a big deal to get to wear their pajamas or their hats. Our 8th grade won the pajama and the hat day. You will see this was our prize. It was a Star Wars suitcase kind of thing. It was hard packed, and we put a lot of goodies in it. It had gift cards in it, school apparel, some Star Wars stuff. It had candy in it. And so every student that earned a trophy got their name in that drawing. We had 1,056 trophies that were earned in November and December. Every student that showed growth in their Exact Path, math, and their Easy CBM benchmark for reading, anyone that showed growth also received a reward for going to a movie that last day before we got out for Christmas. And you can see here's the breakdown. If they showed growth in both, they not only got the movie, but they got a candy bar also. So we had 86 6th graders, which was 61%, and this is for Exact Path math. 7th grade, we had 94, which was 75%. 8th grade, 68, which was 83%. And then for our Easy CBM that took place in December, 68 students, which was 49%. 80 students, 65 in 7th grade, and 8th grade had 40 students that showed growth, which was 49%. We're very interested to see how our Exact Path reading, which they'll be taking this week, correlates with the Easy CBM benchmark.
What is Easy CBM?
Easy CBM benchmark is our progress monitoring that we do. It's assessment for the state, basically.
And you're assessing
reading, language arts, and math. Yes. So, we also partnered up with Busy Bees this year they donated sweatshirts to our students of the 9 weeks. Last year, I think the kids got a candy bar or a certificate. They were really excited to actually get some apparel, so we're really happy that Busy Bees donated the sweatshirts for us. Our second 9 weeks from last semester will be announced tomorrow. They were supposed to be announced Friday, and because we didn't have school. So their reward will not only be a shirt or a sweatshirt, whatever Busy Bees decides to donate, but they're going to get lunch also. We do a demerit system at South, so we have been, for our behavior, so one of the things that we have been doing is recognizing our students every 9 weeks. Students can get demerits for anything from being tardy to class, not being prepared, not participating in class, or being disrespectful, a whole number of things, very wide range of things. So the first 9 weeks, you will see that we had 124 6th graders, 78 7th graders, and 59 8th graders. They voted on what they wanted to receive for their reward, and they voted on social time / tech time, so they got to bring their phones to the gym for the last 45 minutes of the day, and some of them will sit around and talk, some of them will get up and run around the gym, But that was what they all voted on to do. So, and then you'll notice the second 9 weeks, we had 115 sixth graders, 78 seventh graders, and 52 eighth graders. So for the first 9 weeks, 73% of our student body got to receive this reward, and 68 the second 9 weeks. Now, anyone that did not receive a demerit for the whole first semester is actually getting a pizza party. So, and that will take place in the next week or two. So, and I don't have a number yet of how many that is, but last we looked, it's probably going to be over 100. So, students that will get a pizza party. So, we're excited about, pushing our kids, and we do a lot of incentives for them, but it seems to be working. Last year we gave them a blow pop, and I was amazed at how excited the kids get over a blow pop. So, it's the little things. Also, Exact Path has been real supportive, and they have sent us some funds to help with the incentives for them. So, and this is also pushing the kids to help them with their reading and math. So, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brewer. And the next thing on the agenda is project updates. And as you'll see there's 2 projects that I just want to bring to your attention. Once again, I appreciate Dr. Brewer and what they're doing in South on incentivizing learning with our students. With the project updates, we have 2, Rock Creek. As you can see, we've gone into looking at schematic drawings for the project there, as well as the Clark Memorial. Mr. Clark and his crew are sharing and keeping updates on different projects that are going on around the district. As you can see, the intent for project updates is to be more proactive rather than reactive, and we're really fine-tuning that process a great deal. All right. The science book textbook adoption is next there on the directors. You'll see as a part of the adoption process, we offer time where the public can review the new science textbook samples that will be available here at the central office from February the 3rd through the 7th. And the reason for that is such that it's curriculum adoptions are not a surprise to the public. So therefore, as a part of state mandates, you set aside time for individuals to come in and review the science adoptions that are up for adoption, understanding that any adoption that is available have been state approved. And that's why Ms. Carter Pickleton is working with the 20 science teachers across the district, because they will then have to narrow down the top 3 selections that our district will then adopt as a district. And you want to have an adopted curriculum such that you don't have individual schools doing their individual things. You do want to have a standardized adopted text. And a part of that you will see for those that come and review, the information is there. Most now textbook adoption companies have a lot of online resources with it. Traditionally, you would, in times past, there's a lot of textbook, but more and more companies are moving away from actual physical textbooks to more electronic and more consumable items that students will have. So we'll see how that process goes. But once again, for the public, that time is allotted there from February 3rd through the 7th for your review. And then that brings us to Deputy Superintendent.
Okay, so the employment component of the HR office has slowed down quite a bit the last month. We did fill the music position at Salon, the part-time position. Finally, the bookkeeper position at Franklin High School has also been filled. So we still have a lot of people applying for positions. So we had someone apply today for a position from Warren County, Pennsylvania. So that tells me that the information is getting out far and wide, and that's what we want. We want to be able to attract, a good number of quality applicants for our positions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Borhansky, that brings us to item H, which is the legislative update.
So it'll be relatively short. it's going to be the same song I've been singing for the last few months. But the legislators do go into session starting tomorrow, so things will be heating up really soon. And as we've been talking about for a while, Senate Bill, House Bill 1, which was filed the day after the election, which I talked about at length in November, you can go back and look at the notes more, is the Education Freedom Act of 2025. And our guess is that they'll probably take a look at this soon. Again, this is the one that would have the state giving, so each pupil in schools is allotted $7,075 of funding for school. And for us in the public schools, that means that the state gives us, in our particular district, roughly 70% of that amount. And the county has to chip in the other 30%. For private schools that they want to basically give vouchers to, the state is going to give the entire $7,075 without the county having to do anything. Why they wouldn't just say, maybe we'll give the public schools the whole 75 for the pupils. But anyhow, that should be coming up for a vote relatively soon. So if you have thoughts, talking to your legislators about how this would impact the public schools, would be a great idea. And it came up for a vote. So again, our legislators will vote on this. In the states where it came up for a vote in November, which included Kentucky and Nebraska and Colorado, the voters in all three of those states voted the measure down. Kind of an interesting juxtaposition there. So when I went to the people said, again, so in Kentucky, for instance, as I say, like 65% of voters voted for Trump, and roughly 65% of voters voted against the voucher bill there. So it's kind of an issue of interest to everyone. And I just have a link there in case anybody wants to look at some of the other bills that are already on the docket for this legislative session. One is the Menstrual Hygiene Products Accessibility Act, which would have feminine hygiene products stocked in bathrooms of schools for girls. There's one about
have us providing that.
Probably.
No, probably. It won't. I read it.
That's another one.
Okay. Yes, but one of those things could be of great advantage to
Sarah,
female students.
on the Zoom meeting we had Saturday, I think it's important that people realize, and I think special ed is a real big deal with these vouchers. If you haven't read what it's going to do to our special ed, you need to read that. Because if you know of or have in your family a special ed student, one with an IEP or 504 or anything like that, you need to read that. Because it's not going to cover the services those children need unless it's paid for by an outside contracted employer. So if you know of anybody who needs these services, talk to those people and have them read what this voucher is going to do. These schools don't have to take these kids, and that's a real concern to me.
Private schools don't have to change their practices for admission, for education. So you might want your kid to go to school someplace, but that private school could tell you no.
Just people that don't really seem to be concerned about it, I think they just don't know, perhaps, what all you need to know about this bill. But the special ed bill is one that really touches my heart because we know that these children are special, they need special help, and they're not going to get it. Not unless you have insurance that'll pay for it, or you have out-of-pocket money that'll pay for it. So be sure and let people know about what it's going to do to special ed.
If a family chooses to enroll a student into one of these private schools who has some kind of special need, then upon enrolling that child has lost all of their federal protections that came under 94-142, came under the state law. They are flying on their own. There are at least three components of this that could be a stumbling block, but only if our community raises our concern about them, and one of them is the exclusion of students. That would be to exclude children with special needs or children that are neurologically divergent in some way, some behavior problems. The long-range cost of this is not really being discussed, but we have looked at other states that have been crippled by a voucher program, a universal voucher program that was offered to everyone. The other thing, and I know Mr. Williams has mentioned this more than once, is the accountability piece of it. That's very scary to me that our taxpayer, your taxpayer dollars will go to support individuals in these schools, but their level of accountability is going to be, can be very different from what our Franklin County or any student in the public school system in Tennessee is held to. So you will never be able to compare apples to apples because they will not use the same evaluation strategies, techniques, and any recent information or data that I have seen clearly says that public school students are doing better than private school students. So we do a good job. We do a good job, and you as taxpayers will lose your control. You won't elect your school board. You won't elect your county commission as far as how these schools are run. You'll lose that part of your power too. So think carefully about what you can do and who you might speak to. We have two, Representative Rudder and Senator Bowling, that specifically represent us. But I did read an article that was in a neighboring newspaper this week, and Representative Rush Brinken said he did not vote for it before, but he was really considering voting for it this time. He said what will determine is the long-range cost. Well, I don't know how. I don't know how that will be controlled. That's never been discussed. How will you control the long-range cost? And in sharing some data over the weekend, Arizona has been crippled by it. They've had to cut out water programs that all of their citizens would benefit from because so much of their collected revenue is now going to these vouchers or private schools. It's a very scary situation, and the only thing that will make any real impact on how this goes is if we as a community stand together if this is something that is of concern to you.
So contact your representative and your senator. Let them know and share this with your family because a lot of people may not understand the ramifications of what's going to happen if this does pass.
It's an extra $600 million is going to be needed in Indiana this year. That's a lot of state money, in addition to what they started from.
There's $144 million set aside for Tennessee for this year, but they're looking to add every year if they enroll to 20,000 students, and so that number would go up. And like Sarah said, so, you know, we were talking about testing and benchmarks. Public schools, we have to have those. You have to have the TCAP scores. We have the standards. She was talking about the science textbooks. We have standards that we have to teach to. We have textbooks that we have to teach from. So you can look and you can see what your students will be learning. If you're a student, you can see what you are going to be learning that year. Private schools don't have to do those things. They don't have to teach from certain textbooks. They don't have to hit particular standards. They don't have to abide by particular tests. And so, sort of on one hand, you're not comparing the same thing. And on the other hand, you know,
if you turn on your TV, the other thing you're hearing this week is that a special call session, our governor intends to have a special call session to get this bill through. We don't have months to work on this. I don't even know that we have weeks.
And what adds insult to injury on that is there's a lot of speculation that he will call the special session on the 27th, the week of the 27th. And this bill is going to, well, the session is going to be probably called in the name of getting relief to these people in East Tennessee that were affected by Hurricane Helene. And my theory is that it's going to wind up getting tied to that voucher bill.
It could be.
And that's a scary thing. That to me is disgusting that anyone would do that, if they do that. Now, to your point on the cost, initially, they're doing 20,000. 10,000 in one bundle, 10,000 in another bundle. The first 10,000 has a reference to your income. But if you're a family of 4, you can make up to $173,000 a year and still qualify for that voucher.
For like the low income one.
Right, that's the low income vouchers, that 10,000. Then there's another 10,000 that doesn't have that stipulation placed on it. If 75% of those are applied for and used, next year they'll add 5,000 more. And the same the next year. So it's going to just start ballooning and getting larger and larger. And another interesting thing is that in these states that have vouchers, 95% of the vouchers go to students who have never spent a day in public school. They're already in private school. So that's an interesting point to me as well.
Which means that their parents, their family had made that choice, which is an okay choice. That's if you want your child to go to a certain school, certainly you have the right to do that. But they've already made that choice for their child, and they've already financed it themselves. They paid for it themselves. So when they get this $7,075 back, then that's just a bonus for them. It's extra money, and it is hurting now and will hurt a lot more our public.
And it's not taxable either.
The money's not taxed. Well, of course.
No. I mean, for the person that's getting it.
Yeah.
But it is income.
And we could go at length about this, but several states are looking at tax shelter situations where you can give your money to a scholarship issuing organization. Mr. Hawker-Smith's going to give them $25,000. And then that organization is going to give these scholarships probably to the people you want to have them. But what happens is you don't have to pay income tax on that money because you run it through a 501c3. There's an awful lot going on that stands to really hurt and even cripple public education in the next few years. It's very scary. I know it. I'm what $260,000 a year in North Carolina for a family of 4.
Just spread the word, folks.
Yeah.
Spread the word.
So it's not going to people who have a great need.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So if you want more details, we're really happy to talk about this at much greater length after the meeting too.
All right, let's go on to item I, which is finance. Ms. Jenny, the GP budget amendments.
You'll have to forgive me, I did not get the December report done. Finance went through a complete hardware upgrade on Thursday, and as you can imagine, it went 100% according to plan.
Of course.
But I did get a couple budget amendments done before we went through that upgrade, and they are just realigning budgets for different programs across the board for both of them.
Motion to receive and file all these resolutions.
Well, they are resolutions, so they're not receiving file.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Yes.
December and through January 2025 budget amendment and the January through February 2025 GP budget amendment.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Williams to approve the GP budget amendments, second by Ms. Leakey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. All right, that takes us to new business, and there were several policy updates there. If anyone has one that they'd like to pull and discuss, we'd be more than happy for Dr. Alsop
Yes, ma'am.
to help walk you through those. I had one question that I asked him this afternoon, and Jenny, you can probably give us some input on this one. On the 2.8, no. On the bonding of employees, which would be 2.600 on bonded employees.
So a couple of years ago, used to each elected official and the director of schools and the secretaries had to have their own individual bond. A couple of years ago, ago, we talked with B.R. Williams, and we were able to get one big bond for the entire county that covered everyone that handled money up to a certain amount. And it was more beneficial. We could get better coverage for each of our employees without them having to get their own individual bond. So we have that up to $400,000 per person. It's a blanket policy for anyone within our system that handles money that is an employee. So all of your school secretaries, all the way down to the sheriff, any elected official throughout the county that collects. It's a B office or collects money.
Well, my question is, for purposes of our policy, I'm questioning the term treasurer that's placed in there. As you know, we don't have anything to do now with PTOs or with
But they are
boosters.
still school sponsored, they're SSOs, so they are still tied to us in a way. So those individuals, I believe, are covered under that bond.
Yeah, there's a policy in here that
We do have,
specifically
yeah,
outlines they're
we
not.
separated that
They're
years ago.
separate from the school.
But I think, I'll have to check with David Huss on that, because I think they are still, because of what they are, because they are tied to that school and that organization, I still think we have to cover them under this bond, but I will check with David Huss on that and make sure, yeah.
That
It's
was on
2.404
Okay.
is the policy that references that.
It does.
And if so, we can erase that.
Years
Take
ago,
that
there
out.
was a problem that came up with that, and those of you that were on the board at the time will remember it, and we at that point in time were able legally to separate ourselves from their organizations.
Gotcha.
And it was over the issue of prayers before meetings.
Right.
I can remember.
I'll check with David
David.
Huss on that, and if we need to strike that from there, we can.
Thank you. That's the only question I have.
So I will hold that policy until next month.
And then one of my questions is related to 2.404 because it says parent-teacher organizations, and I thought that all of ours were separate and they couldn't involve teachers. They can only involve parents. So they aren't parent-teacher organizations. They are just, as it was listed here, parent organizations.
I think that's a technicality with the name. Yeah, you're right.
So just maybe correcting that, because then that would align with what she was saying about the other policy. Because like it's parent organizations is crossed out, it says parent-teacher organizations, but I think parent-teacher organizations aren't a thing in our district. Teachers can't be part of them.
That's going to cause a problem with a lot of your school PTOs and your booster clubs, because you have teachers that are on the.
You can be a part of it,
You
you
can be a
can't.
part, you just can't
you
be
can't
an
be an
officer
Right.
or on the board.
Okay, well, which is what makes the PTOs.
Still parent
They're
teacher.
still called PTOs on their books.
Because teachers can be members.
Right.
Yeah, teacher on a PTO can be a member of the organization, however, cannot hold any type of office on that governing board.
I mean, the one, because like I was, the one at Swanee, and it was like, it used to be a TTO, and then it was just the Swanee Parent Organization, the SPO, because they had to drop the teacher part of things because of whatever happened. Maybe some further digging and question asking to sort that out.
I have a question. Oh, this is separate. Go ahead. Some of the changes are in red and some are
Yes.
blue.
So we have a policy review committee, and
Okay.
like this month, it was section 2, the fiscal policies. So I sent that out to the policy review committee, and also Jenny Phillips was willing to look through the policies, and I think she's trying to align her policies with the county policies. So her recommendations are in blue. Now I also get recommendations from TSBA, and those are the ones that I have included in red. And actually this month we have a couple policies that were recommended from the Tennessee Department of Education.
Okay.
So,
Would those be red also?
yes.
Okay.
And for the
I thought
most
that was
part,
part of
those
it.
are driven by TCA as
Yes.
well. So, I think.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Thank you for the clarification.
And I did have one more question. It was in 4.603, the promotion and retention policy, about the part in red. So it sort of has like 2 reasons from the school side that talks about retention. And then it talks about voluntary retention, which is about kind of the parents' rights. but then the red comes after that. This information shall be submitted in writing within 30 days at the end of the school year. And I was just wondering if that applies to both, sort of, is that timeline?
For voluntary retention?
Okay, so that's just for the voluntary because the other ones have the February 1st.
Right, that's where TSBA put the recommendation for the policy change, so I'm assuming it applies to voluntary retention.
And the second, and the one that's after February, because there's the February 1st and then there's
That's
the
the one that's going
so it's for
to-
after February 1st and voluntary?
No, just
No,
voluntary.
it's voluntary, that was voluntary.
Is there a date for the after February 1st?
They did not include that in the recommendation.
And the February date is more or less to give parents awareness that their child is at risk
Yes,
of being retained.
possibility of.
Possibility
That
of.
comes from the school.
Right.
Right, I just wondered sort of what the deadlines applied to and how that worked.
I didn't see any specification for timeline, other than the specific February first.
But it says there's an opportunity for late.
And there has to be.
Yeah,
Right, but
absolutely.
I mean, then maybe that go, maybe the after, within 30 days of the end of school kind of goes to both the parents and the, because I mean, obviously, you can be retained after February 1st if your TCAP score, which you find out on the late side.
Yeah, the February is more of a watch, parents, please be aware. And then I think because of the 30 days at the end, the state, they puts that there because now the parents have a right to decide whether or not they want their child retained, and then given 30 days after school is out, with the hopes that there's some type of data, raw data that might be back at that time.
Years ago, parents wanted to keep their children back for sports and other things, so the state came in and said, there has to be a basis. You can't just come in and say, oh, I want y'all back. So that's why that, I think, is in there.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then I'll make a motion to approve the policies with the exception of 2.404 and 2.6. We'll hold those out to next month.
Second. We have a motion by Mr. Williams, and a second by Ms. Jones. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Takes us to, I think the discussion segment, I thought that's something else. You have a copy, I think everyone has a hard copy, correct, Ms. Katie, of our board self-evaluation. It's also online, so you can fill it out online and send it to her that way, or you can drop a hard copy by the board, whichever you choose to do. She would like to have them back by February the 6th, so that she can compile it and have them ready for our next board meeting, which brings me to another point. Our next board meeting is scheduled for February the 10th on Monday night. That night, a lot of us are going to be participating in the legal and legislative workshop, conference, whatever you'd like to call it, with TSBA. So we're going to need to move our meeting date to another night. Now, we can do it later on that week. We can do it the week prior. We can do it the week after. Now, you're going to be gone later on that week, correct?
For the rest of the week, for the TOS,
Yes.
while you all at TSBA on Monday, then I will be at TOS Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
So we can move it up. We can move it down, whichever y'all choose to do. I'm
What about
pretty
the next
flexible.
Monday?
What?
What about the next?
17th.
17th? I'm good with the 17th. It's President's Day, but I don't know that keeps us from meeting with that.
No, there's usually spelling bee for President's Day.
Are we out of school for President's Day?
Yeah, so that's not good.
Well, then you won't have a spell bee at night, will you?
Yeah, there's usually a spelling bee in town.
Well, we don't have that, do we? What? I'm not, yeah, Philadelphia. What, I can come at night.
What about
Come at
Monday the
6.
3rd?
I can do Monday the 3rd.
I don't know that one. Sorry.
I can do the 3rd. The only time that I can't come is on Thursday the 6th. Other than that.
What about Tuesday? Tuesday the 4th?
You're out?
No, I'm available.
Tuesday the 4th. Casey.
I'm good on the fourth. I can't do the third.
You cannot.
I'm available pretty much any other time.
All right, Mr. Anderson, we need some input here from you, not to put you on the spot or anything. But if we move it to the 4th, when would you all like to meet as far as the county commission committee?
Is that a Tuesday, the
That's a
4th?
Tuesday, 4th. Do you want to meet early that day, maybe like we did once before with them? Or
That
would
would
that
probably
work
work
with you
best.
all?
I think so. If you wanted to meet with us at 5, and then y'all have your meeting at 6, something like that.
I think that's doable. I'm good with that. How about anybody else?
I think that sounds.
All right, so we'll meet with the county commission committee, the education committee at 5, and then our meeting will be at 6. And if you all don't mind, can we meet here?
Yeah, that's fine.
And that's the third.
Fourth. Don't forget, tomorrow night now is our meeting with the commissioners, and that will be at the annex at 5:30. County commission meets on 21st. And January the 26th and February the 1st is School Board Appreciation Week. Anyone have anything else?
Oh, yes, I do. Motion to adjourn. Oh, wait a minute. No.
Is this business?
It is business. It is business. I'm wondering if we have students going to scope this year.
I don't know.
Check with the high school, check with the guidance.
We can find out.
Yeah.
You know that it is the student congress on.
With both Huntland and the high school.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
The second time.
Motion to really adjourn.
Yeah.